This is a Fox 10 News special report. Danger Zone, Cambodia.
A nation filled with landmines and the people who have encountered them. Tonight, we show you how brave men locate those buried explosives and destroy them before they destroy more lives.
There's no room for risk here. There's no room for mistakes.
One of the people trying to clear the world of landmines could become First Lady. What fuels Cindy McCain's passion for landmine removal? Tonight, we take you to one of the most dangerous places on the planet, how it is being made safe again, and who's ultimately benefiting. Welcome to Danger Zone, Cambodia. Good evening, I'm Kari Lake. Tonight, we're going to take you on a journey half a world away where tourists never go, to the active landmines of Cambodia. And when it comes to landmines, this is ground zero. That's a common sight in parts of Cambodia. By some estimates, 1 million landmines were buried there between 1980 and 1990. The deminers who destroy them work for an organization called Halo Trust. It's a nonprofit with a mission to clear landmines around the world. So from Arizona to the Southeast Asian country of Cambodia, still ravaged from war, Halo took us into an active minefield. They show us what they do and why it's so important. Home to beautiful temples and beautiful people, Cambodia is also home to the most dangerous land on earth, filled with explosives. Unfortunately, families live on this land.
And it just so happens that during the war, one side or another laid landmines through their village. And they are forced every day to live in these areas, to grow their families, to grow crops to eat, to go and forage in the woodland, to bring back firewood in areas they know to be mined.
These men are deminers, employed by Halo, earning a good living, doing a very dangerous job.
And we employ 1,100 people every day here who clear landmines. And over the years, we've worked out where the landmines are. We've focused on those areas where the accidents are happening and the accident rate is coming down.
Accidents that leave people dead or disabled. Hundreds of thousands of landmines, 10 to 15 feet apart, are laid here. Board member Cindy McCain explains Halo's mission.
The kind of work that they do is simple. Is simple in that they're dedicated to one cause, and that is prosperity for people and making sure that they have a clean and safe life.
This particular minefield is in a very remote spot in northern Cambodia. It's just a few feet from the Thai border, and that's why this medical equipment is so essential. If a deminer is hurt while on the job, he may have to wait an hour and a half before being flown for help. Accidents are rare but costly. After paying for that medical equipment, the deminer's salaries, the safety equipment, and the trucks, it ends up costing about $100 to remove a single mine. Now, this is actually what a landmine looks like. It's kind of hard to see. It's buried just a couple of inches below the Earth's surface. In Cambodia, they have good military maps showing where the minefields are, but it's up to Halo and the deminers to go into those fields and find every single explosive that's buried there. Here's how they do it. An uncleared minefield looks like this, high grass with hundreds of buried landmines. A deminer carefully scans the high grass with a metal detector. There could be tripwires that could trigger an explosion. They work in narrow rows. A deminer with a weed whacker follows behind. The cut grass is burned, and then another deminer goes in with his metal detector and his tools. He starts by testing his metal detector to make sure it works. That's done several times a day. Every inch of the earth is scanned 3 times with the detector. If the detector gives no signal, he moves this stick over what is now considered clear land and steps on that land. If he's made a mistake, he'll pay for it with his leg or his life. If he gets a signal, the deminer marks it. Cindy McCain explains what's next.
Now he'll begin very carefully excavating behind. They work forward and sideways so as not to come down on top of the mine.
They dig just enough to make sure it's a landmine and not some small piece of metal. Then they blow them up. Each one of these white stakes indicates where a mine used to be. This entire plot of land is a cleared minefield. It's as safe as your backyard. But a few months ago, had you walked and stepped right here, your life would never be the same. These white stakes represent hope for McCain, who's a board member of HALO.
They're making a huge progress, but this is still a very, very, very large job, and it's very tedious, as you have seen here.
You just saw Cindy McCain there in the minefields with us as a board member for HALO. She actually became interested in landmine removal during the first Gulf War. That's when she met a child who had stepped on a landmine that was planted in, of all places, a playground. McCain, of course, is a wealthy woman who runs brewing giant Hensley and Company, but her international humanitarian work is very important to her. It's something that she wouldn't want to give up, even if she becomes First Lady someday. The children are Cindy McCain's inspiration.
He's 3, yeah, I was going to say. Does he like being in the Army? Can you ask if he likes being in the Army? Huh? He's shy. I look at these kids like they're all my own and want what I would want for my own children, and that's a good education, a good life. I would want to be able to feed them, clothe them, and give them all that I could.
Their life is getting better, in part due to the work McCain has dedicated herself to with HALO.
People ask me all the time, why is it you do this? Why not stay home and do something? Why not, help a local charity? Well, I believe that I'm a member of a community. I'm a member of the world community. And this kind of operation, this kind of project changes lives. And to me, this is extremely important.
I just come back from 3 months out in Afghanistan, Cambodia, and Angola. And I came to the office, and one of the first people I met was Cindy McCain.
Nigel Robinson, Vice President of HALO Trust.
She is the real deal, basically. When she turned up in the office, she asked some really searching questions about what we did and how we did it and how we managed our money and how much of our money went out to the field. And she's great.
An active board member, McCain has roughed it in remote HALO minefields in Angola, Mozambique, and Cambodia.
She adapts. She literally just turns off the Western world as we know it and gets right in enthusiastically into living quite a harsh existence so she can get out and see HALO doing its work.
Qualifications that Robinson says may prepare her for the next phase of her life.
I think she was going to be a fabulous First Lady, and mainly because she has such an amazing international perspective.
For Cindy, it's about using her life to help others.
It affects one life at a time in a village like this. So we can clear the minefields, give them their land back, give them their life back, like this little guy, then we've done what we're supposed to do.
Danger Zone, Cambodia.
As we go about our business in Cambodia, primarily focused on the landmine issue, we find a lot of this stuff just lying around on the surface. A lot of it has been fired, but has failed to initiate when it's hit the target.
Weapons, ammunition, remnants of past wars in Cambodia. A lot of it is still lying around today. And kids will find things like this mortar round right here. And because they have no toys, this dangerous item becomes a toy. As a result, there are many terrible accidents each and every year. HALO's mission includes finding and destroying this stuff, and you can understand why the U.S. State Department funds HALO's work when you see the types of weapons that HALO is finding and getting rid of.
This is the tube that it comes in.
They've gotten rid of shoulder-launched missiles that could take down a jet, just some of the many types of ammunition that they've gotten rid of and really gotten off the planet. No running water, no clean drinking water. Survival for many Cambodians means foraging in the woods for small animals to eat, wood, or even sell. They stray metal that they can be sold as well. It's dangerous considering that many are foraging in active landmines. But it also provides for a meager existence, usually only bringing a family 75 cents a day. And that's why these HALO demining jobs are coveted. 1,100 Cambodians work for HALO, making their country safe again.
I mean, this is a highly coveted job. When a deminer can take home $150 a month, that's a fortune compared to if they were not working for HALO or another NGO. So yeah, they can support a family and a community off of this as well.
Now, they must go through extensive training, including paramedic-type training in case there's an accident. And accidents are rare, but because of the training, when they do happen, they are serious, and deminers cannot work anymore. Because of that, every HALO employee is insured, his body and life, by Lloyd's of London. Most Americans didn't know much about landmine removal efforts around the world until a well-known woman took a trip to the minefields to see what was being done in person. That woman, of course, Princess Diana, and here you see her with HALO back in 1997. She was touring a minefield in Angola. Diana was such an inspiration, and so are 12 moms from California who have become superheroes in Cambodia. They turned their book club into a fundraising group to raise money for demining. And in a few short years, they've raised $500,000, making them HALO's largest private donor. This is the ultimate in success stories for the demining program here in Cambodia. 5 years ago, you could not walk across this plot of land without risking your life. Today, it's mine-free, and it holds a schoolhouse where 170 children come each day to learn.
Wish I could do more.
They are doing so much more, making the land usable again, giving the gift of safety, and school supplies on top of it all. A wonderful moment for the kids.
I think this is where people need to be encouraged to, go beyond the easy charitable giving and give of themselves. And this is what makes charitable giving really an act of love.
This guy, he won't smile, will he? He just won't crack a smile.
Cindy McCain loves telling the Freedom Field story.
They carpooled together and they're a book club and read a book. It changed their lives. They wanted to do something, and this is how they've done it. They have taken a small part of this, they support it. They have changed the lives of hundreds of thousands of Cambodians as a result, this simple group of ladies.
So are you wondering what book that they read that motivated these women? It's called First They Killed My Father, written by Lun Ung. She's a survivor of the Khmer Rouge genocide, where a third of Cambodia's population was executed or starved to death.
Danger Zone, Cambodia.
In Angola a few years back, I picked somebody up who just stood on a landmine. And it's a very traumatic event, clearly from an emotional perspective, but also from a medical perspective, because the landmine blast goes straight up into the leg. It shatters a lot of bone, there's a lot of dirt, a lot of fragments.
Think about that, what these countries would be capable of providing for their people and the world if they didn't have landmines. Angola is actually just one of dozens of countries where HALO Trust is actively removing landmines. In Africa, Angola, Eritrea, Somalia, Mozambique, they're all being cleared right now to make the land safe again. And then we head over to Asia, and that's where a few nations being cleared are Afghanistan, Chechnya, Sri Lanka, to name a few, taking us to Southeast Asia and to Cambodia. That's where we were, and to the most heavily mined land in the world. It's right here along the border with Thailand. These are landmines that were laid by the Vietnamese after they forced the Khmer Rouge out of Cambodia. Now, the legacy of landmines is all of that unusable land, leaving people unable to farm. It is the amputees whose lives are taken or changed forever. But the legacy of landmine removal is very simple. It's hope and prosperity. Without any advance notice, landmines have changed so many lives here. Jum Saran's accident 13 years ago changed the way HALO removes mines. He was a supervisor checking the work of a deminer.
Yeah, he was very sure that it was the clear area because it has been demined. So he walked on the clear area that he feels safe, and then the accident happened.
Now deminers check their work 3 times, eventually stepping on that cleared land themselves before the supervisor checks it. Oop Hump stepped on a landmine in 1980.
So at the beginning he was very hopeless, and then people sent him to the hospital, and at the hospital he saw many people that handicapped. So he started to realize that not only him alone that is hopeless.
Sun Yum stepped on a landmine too.
He just remembered that it was painful.
The legacy of war in this country has lasted too long here. And even when all the landmines are removed, the scars will remain.
Danger Zone, Cambodia.
A plot of land like this may not look like anything to anybody else, but this is everything to the people of Cambodia.
Well, what do you envision this will look like in 4, 5, 6 months?
Hopefully we'll begin rice fields again, rice paddies, and begin farming and living and raising their families again, right here.
As you've seen, it's painstaking work that goes into locating buried landmines, metal detectors, basic digging tools, and the concentration of brave deminers. When they finally locate a landmine, they expose just enough so that it can be destroyed. These ugly remnants of war don't go away quietly. When they're not maiming and killing, they're being killed by deminers. After locating the landmines, they give them a taste of their own medicine. A small 80-cent explosive is placed right next to the landmine, and a charge line is run to the detonator. And then the warning is shouted.
Silent. Destroy.
Cindy McCain has volunteered to take out this landmine.
Thank you, Freedom Fields.
One more down, thousands left to go, but progress is being made. Well, he's the guy who took all the amazing video that you've seen of this trip. Fox 10 chief photographer Jon Noetzel. This is actually a picture I'm about to show you here of us on our trip. You know, I'll never forget it. Jon would come back in from the minefield, and not only had he shot great video, he had amazing perspective on what he saw. Here's Jon's take on Cambodia in his own words.
Our first morning in Cambodia, I woke up early so I could go out and get some video of the village. Just some scenery shots that we could use to set up our stories. Everywhere I looked was like a postcard. As a photographer, I was in heaven. The sun was coming up, and around every turn was a beautiful shot. I was overwhelmed by the beauty of the Cambodian people as well. Even in the midst of all of the poverty, there was a sense of hope and smiles on all the children's faces. Well, except this guy here. He wasn't too crazy about my camera. When we reached the minefield, I was a little bit nervous, given the reality of where we were actually walking. I mean, this was an active minefield, and we were literally just feet away from something that could kill you. As the gravity of the situation subsided a bit, I realized that I was seeing part of a brutal history up close. And the work of Cindy McCain, Halo Trust, and all of these deminers was vitally important to the livelihood of this country.
That's Jon Noetzel. And for my take on the trip and more from Jon, go to myfoxphoenix.com. You can also get information on both Halo Trust and Freedom Fields. And in a couple of minutes, I will be chatting live about this program and the demining efforts on myfoxphoenix.com. I hope you'll join me in just a couple of minutes. Well, that's our time for tonight. Thank you for taking this journey with us to the Danger Zone, Cambodia. With time and people who care working to clear Cambodia, it is a country with a bright future. Join me live online at myfoxphoenix.com right now for a live chat. Good night.